So Bex, who owns your website? Is it you?
I don't know. But Ben, who owns your content? Is it you?
You know, I'm really not sure.
It's
It's
time to
time to
find
find
out.
out.
Hey there, I'm Bex, and I help small business owners get more visible online by having a blog on their website.
Hi, I'm Ben, and I help small business owners learn how to build their own website using WordPress, all without writing a single line of code.
Website and content ownership. What do we mean by ownership in terms of websites and content, and why do we think it's so important? That's the first area we're going to cover. Then we're going to look at websites in particular and content and talk about, just delve into those areas a little bit more. And then finally, we're going to look at what you can do to protect the stuff you own, stop other people stealing it or stop you losing it in some way. So Bex, let's just talk about the first issue. What do we mean by ownership in this particular scenario?
Well, obviously, the word ownership means to own something. And perhaps you've never really given it much thought as to whether you own your website. You just naturally presume that you do. And I guess that was a question I'm going to fire back to you out there. Do you know whether you own your website? Like, what's it hosted on? What platform have you built it on? Perhaps if you haven't done it yourself and it's an agency or another person that's put it together for you, perhaps you have no idea at all what actually belongs to you. And that's really what we mean by ownership. And it's knowing that as you move forward and you want to grow your business, really you need to know that as quite a key important thing moving forwards as to whether you own that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in your business long term, which I assume we all are, then it's critical that you own your stuff, because what if they're no longer there? What if the other people own it and they disappear? They're no longer there. Or what if you get just shut out, locked out of it for some reason?
Yeah,
that's an absolute disaster for your business. So it's really, really, really important that, yes, you know who owns it in the first place, and really that you own most of it. It's really, I think it's absolutely mission critical.
It absolutely is, because if you think about it, if you had a shop on the high street, if you owned it, you'd at least have a key for it, right? So you'd have access to it to be able, and it would be there unless it burnt down in a fire. You've got it there. But your website, if something suddenly goes wrong and you're not in control of it because you don't actually own all these bits of it, what then?
Yeah,
it could literally be the end of your business. It really could be as extreme as that.
It really could be, yeah. And if your website's something that you've actually invested in over a period of time and that all goes up in smoke and you can't access it for some reason, that's an absolute disaster, isn't it? That's all those hours wasted. Not just building it.
It's gutting, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it would be, gutting. Yeah. But you're not just building the technical aspects of the website, it's building your business, isn't it? And all the customers that you've gained and your loyal following. You know, that's why it's so important.
Definitely. And I think, so obviously you're a WordPress guy. I use WordPress for mine. So I guess the thing that springs to mind now that people might be wondering is, why would you suggest WordPress over another platform? What are the benefits of WordPress when it comes to ownership?
Okay. Well, I mean, as I always say, WordPress does have a lot of advantages over other platforms, but in this specific area, ownership, I think this is the key one. This is the one that really, really counts, because it is very, very different to all the other platforms out there. So you may have heard of some of the other ones. Maybe you even have a website on one of these platforms. There's Squarespace, Wix, Ionos is one. There's a whole raft of them. Shopify, if you're running a shop. Those are very, very different models to WordPress. Those are commercial products where you pay a subscription to use it. If you want to add features, you pay your subscription goes up. As soon as you cancel your subscription, your website goes, because you don't own that website. You check the terms and conditions of your Squarespace or Wix or Ionos, GoDaddy is another one. You check the terms and conditions, it will tell you that they license the use of that website to you for the length of your contract. As soon as you cancel your subscription, that's it. It's gone. You lose the website. You own the content of the website, so you own the words and pictures, but they make it very hard for you to get to export that because they want you tied into the contract.
That's the thing. How do you get it back if suddenly that's gone? It's out there, right?
You can't get it. Yeah, absolutely. And you're really up
Poop Creek.
That's the one. I was trying to say that without saying it.
Where we're going. I just rescued you there.
No, yes, you're up Poop Creek.
So why WordPress over those then?
Sorry?
So why WordPress over those?
Why WordPress over those? Well, WordPress, as I said, is a very, very different model. It's something called open source, which means it's free to use. But more than that, you can host it anywhere. So you're not tied into a particular platform in the way that you are with Wix or Squarespace. You can take that anywhere. And you may say, well, what if WordPress ceases to exist, for example? What happens if it evaporates? Well, firstly, I think that's very, very unlikely. A WordPress site operates independently of the infrastructure. It's totally self-contained. And also, the people who actually develop WordPress is volunteers. It can be anybody. You could volunteer to work on WordPress. They aren't going to go away. And if the WordPress Foundation ceased to exist for some reason, then someone would fork WordPress. They make a copy of it, and it would carry on in some form. So it's not going to go away. If you've got your WordPress website hosted with a particular company, and you decide maybe they put their rates up, or you decide they're not actually providing the service, or the website's gone slow, or something you don't like about it, you can move your WordPress website lock, stock, and barrel to another provider, and you can host your WordPress website pretty much anywhere. There's so much choice out there. You can move it lock, stock, and barrel, and it's really easy. Actually, it's got even easier in that regard to migrate from one host to another with a click of the button. So it's really, really easy. And you own it. So you own it. No ifs, no buts. It's yours. Okay. And that's the content, and that's the pictures, but it's also the design, the theme, everything about it. It is yours. So I
think that's really interesting, because there's probably a lot of people that are watching this who've got small businesses that possibly might not yet be at a stage where they've done a website for themselves. Yet they might be Etsy sellers, or they might sell stuff on Amazon. They've got their products on there, but obviously that is the risk that's not their space. So if for whatever reason, I mean, it's unlikely Amazon's going to go down, but it's not completely out of the realms, is it? Or Etsy or anything, or if their rates go up or anything like that,
or
that's you screwed, basically.
That's right. Yeah. And things do, and there are new kids on the block with all this stuff as well. So someone else comes up and you think, well, they're impregnable. No, there's no way that Amazon is ever going to disappear. Well, things happen. Back in the day, people would have said the Yellow Pages was here to stay. We'd never be able to do without that. And
Woolworths.
Yeah,
Woolworths.
Exactly. Yeah. But Kodak cameras, it's all.
Yeah.
But things change. Technology moves on. People's tastes change. Trends. So you just don't know.
Yeah.
I am firmly of the opinion. WordPress currently powers more than 40% of the web, so it isn't going to go anywhere, I don't think.
Yeah.
And even if it did, you'd be able to get your content out of it and export it and move to whatever the next platform is. But it's So, and you own it all. That is the critical thing.
It's the key thing.
And with ownership, that gives you control, which I think, in business terms, that's everything. Should we talk a bit about content as well, and ownership of content, because it's a similar story, isn't it? Although there's some differences there.
It is similar. So, I think I'm going to talk about it from a social media point of view. I think first, rather than blogging. I mean, there is kind of comparisons between the two. So if you think about when you share content on social media, because a lot of small businesses do see the benefits of social media over blogging, just because it's that kind of like fast, rapid turnover, and you don't have to write as much, and it's a little bit more engaging initially. But the fact of the matter is, when you're putting that content on, we'll use Facebook, for example. If you're putting content on Facebook, yes, in copyright terms, that content belongs to you. When you signed up to Facebook and made your account very early on, you will have, whether you know it or not, you will have ticked a box that tells you that you agree to their license, that when you share content, they can do what they like with that content. So they can copy it, they can duplicate it, they can fiddle with it, they can delete it. They can essentially do what they want with that content. So you don't own it. And if that platform was, like we've said about, web hosts and all that, if that platform was to disappear, so too would all of that content that you had spent hours and hours on. You probably have got years and years and years of content on it. Even from like a personal point of view, when you share photos with family members and stuff like that on there, probably most people these days are using Facebook and Instagram as like people would have done photo albums. But the fact of the matter is, all them photos are going to be gone if that platform disappears.
Yep. Or you lose access to your account for some reason.
Yeah. If you're logged out of it and you're locked out and you can't get back in,
yes,
it's gone, literally all gone. And that's devastating.
Yeah, it is.
Quite honestly.
Yeah. It is, yeah. So the counter argument for that is, if you're running your own content through a blog rather than, it's not an either or situation, isn't it? Because you can run social media
really
as well.
Isn't.
They can sit side by side, but you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket in social media terms. You're much better off having your content on a blog and in within your website as well.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I've written a blog post about this. So I'm going to drop that in the link. If we're giving you all the stuff this week, it just so happens we're covering it. In an ideal world, and you should be concentrating on your blog content first and foremost, because that is the content you own, and that is the content that's going to stay on that website that you own, as long as you are using a website that you do own. You can then use that blog content on your social media. But as it happens, that's going to be next week's video. We're going to be talking about repurposing content. So we're not going to go into too much detail about that now. You'll have to tune in next week to watch that.
Good plug. Well done.
It's a time saver. Well, it leads nicely into it. So I feel like I'm just testing the waters and tempting, really dangling that carrot a little bit. But yeah. So in terms of like websites and then blog content, what you own, as we said, a long-term strategy and for long-term growth. And also, do you know what, with SEO, you can't do SEO on social media posts. You can't. So if you want to be using that for your business growth, which quite honestly you should be, you need to be doing that on your own website. And that, ideally in a blog, but there's other areas on your website that you can put SEO and you can use that for business growth, which you just aren't going to get on social media platforms. It's well worth you going, when you've finished watching this, going away and actually working out whether you do own your website or not. I think we'll set that as a little bit of a task for people to do, because as I said at the beginning, perhaps you don't even know, and there's nothing wrong if you didn't know that. I should imagine it's quite common for people not to realize. So go away and have a look, and any questions, let us know and we'll see if we can help you. So another topic that sort of leads on from this is, even if you do own your own website, is how do you protect the content that you've got on it? Because there's plenty of, like, I'll call them scammers for want of a better word, that can come along and essentially just take your content from your website. There's nothing majorly stopping them from doing that if you haven't got the right systems in place to stop them doing so.
And you've got some experience with this, haven't you, with your own blogs and
Yeah, so like my main website that I've had for a few years now, I quite regularly have other websites come along and they do something called scraping, which is where they basically, as soon as you've pressed publish on a post, they've got this clever tech that just steals it, sometimes word for word, sometimes it changes ever so slightly and it's written very badly. You can tell that it's a copy done wrong. But sometimes they're even so cheeky as to completely take the image, the same color font. It can literally be an exact copy of what you have created. And that happens every single time you share a post, so that then there's duplicate copy out there that Google doesn't like.
And it's republished elsewhere.
And it's republished on their own website. And usually the website, you look at the website address and it's something like quite dodgy. It's only just been set up. And don't get me wrong, they're not just doing it to my site. They'll be doing it to hundreds of different sites.
And it's automated, isn't it? It's not automated. A human being sitting there copying stuff.
No, it's automated. So it's just downright lazy and rude because they are not having
theft, the right. It is actually.
It's theft. It's plain and simple theft. Yeah. They are not having to do any work. They are just trying to build up their own website and do what I'm doing essentially, but ripping it off.
using all your hard work and to benefit from that themselves. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which is frustrating in itself. But if you say, I had this a while back when my kids were little and they were okay with me sharing pictures of them in my posts, it hits a whole other level when robots, people are scraping your site and stealing blog posts that feature personal family photos.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's knowing what you can do to help prevent that. And there are a few different things that you can do. So first and foremost, you can put some things on your WordPress site. I don't know if you know of any plugins specifically that you can do for this that will pick up these sites to alert you to it.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find out.
That's fine, but we can find it and we can put it, because I can't think off the top of my head either. I've got these things in place, but I can't think of them. The practice that I tend to follow is that I try and contact the site owners and ask them politely, passive aggressive, to take it down because it's copyright theft. If I don't hear from them, I then report them to Google, and 9.9 times out of 10 Google reacts and it takes them down. But it is a continual battle, and it's something that absolutely does my head in that this still goes on. In terms of photos, let's talk about that quickly, where I mentioned obviously my kids' photos, and I can see your lovely ones behind you.
Yes. I haven't asked them, but
they're on there.
They're not going to be watching this, so it's fine.
Yeah,
no one steals this video. It's fine.
I think what you can do that will help a little bit is to make sure you watermark your photos. Yeah. You could put a logo on there. You can do stuff like that, which can easily be done in Canva. That's not a problem. It might not stop it entirely, but it's going to put them on. It's going to involve more work for them. So if they have to do more work, they're less they might skip past yours and just go to someone else's. And I will just point out, this is very unlikely to happen to a website in early days or until you've gone very big. And if it's a website that is just selling products and stuff like that, it's unlikely to happen to. It is mostly going to happen with blog posts because it's the content that they want for that.
Yeah. So when we talk about protecting yourself, it's not just about protecting yourself from thieves. It's about protecting yourself if you find yourself locked out of a service that no longer exists. And we touched on this a bit earlier on, didn't we? But for example, you should have a backup of your website regardless. And that's primarily there if something technically goes wrong. If there's a problem with the server, or your website doesn't work for some reason, you've made an upgrade to it and it's changed it, you've got something you can go back to and you can retrieve it. But you should also have it in case the people that are hosting your website if they no longer exist, and if they've gone out of business, for example, which, let's face it, that does happen, you could lose everything. So you need to have that backed up so you can go and host it elsewhere, and it should be backed up on a daily basis. So that is a really, really important thing. The second thing I would say is, in terms of your domain name, someone might have registered that on your behalf. It's important that you're listed as the owner and not them. Okay, so if, for example, there's a technical content and admin content, and there's owner's content. The technical and admin one is less relevant, actually, but the owner's one, you need to make sure it's your name and address and contact details so that you own it. Okay, I think that's a really useful tip, and something
because
lots of people overlook.
Yeah, because say like you did have some kind of digital agency or just a standalone person that had bought a domain name for you. I'm sure this doesn't happen a lot, but there's nothing presumably stopping them if they wanted to go rogue to just suddenly claiming ownership of your site.
Absolutely,
because they own that domain.
I mean, I do this with my clients. I will register because they don't know how to do it, so I register the domain name on their behalf. But I always make sure their names are in there because that's transparent. But there would be nothing to stop me. Actually, I could say if you fell out with your supplier, for example, they have control. And it's listed as being belonging to them, and they can change it. So it's that they have control. They could rip you off. Yeah. So absolutely, just make sure that you have control of it.
Definitely. And so if you weren't the person that set up your website, that is well worth a question that you should go back to whoever did to ask them, because it's really not that difficult to get that changed, and they shouldn't have a problem in doing that. You have every right for them to do that. That's just part of the service they should be offering you.
It really is. Yeah. It really should be standard. Yeah.
So I think we probably covered pretty much the 3 points that we said we were going to. We know what ownership is now. We understand why it's important to our business, and we know a little bit more about how we can protect our content and our websites. Obviously, if you've got any questions, please leave them for us. It's quite a hard topic, I would say. So I would completely understand if you have got questions.
Yeah, but hopefully you've got a bit of a better idea about what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that people think about it, really. And so many people I know don't know the difference between Wix and WordPress, for example. They don't know that basic difference. And I think that's probably the case. It is a cloudy area, isn't it, that you don't necessarily think about when you're doing this kind of stuff. So
I don't think you would. Yeah.
No, I don't think so either. So I hopefully it's actually shone a bit of a light on that, and you can go away and have a think about it.
Yeah.
and take some action, please.
Take action, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for watching, and please do remember to check out the other videos on our channel.
And if you like what you see, please hit subscribe and follow us on our socials. Details in the description below. I can make an entrance.
You could make an entrance, but
I need my tea towel.
Need my special towel.
Timer, tea towel. Something else beginning with T.
Talking.
That's the one. I need my tea towel. Water.
Water.
No, that's rude.
Well, it shows you that you don't need all this equipment to produce high quality YouTube videos. All you need is
this a special tea towel, though.
Special tea towel.
No. We've just switched. Sorry, Bex. We've just switched over. I'm now looking at myself. No, you come back now.
We're going to be knackered after this.
No. What did I say? Oh, I don't know what I said now. It's jolly good. Terrible. Yeah. So anyway, okay. I was ready to go then.
That's too showy. It's not all about you.
No, okay. Right. Yes. Yeah, that's right.
What was wrong with that?
That's the Tesco run. Careful.
Busted. You are basically Iggle Piggle
Yes. No, but it's all going in my little book of grievances that I'll bring in years to come. I'll bring them all. I'll mention them all, drag them all up.
You're going to write a letter of complaint.
Yeah, that's
grabbing the limelight.
I know.
I am nothing but honest.
Words fail me. Right.
Like that.
Side saddle. Talk about right.
Oh no!
No, this is bad.
Now.
Okay, we got that.
I could feel a cut coming. It's all right.
Yeah.
Bread people who want websites. I mean, I'm sure it exists.
Bread people? Who are they?
People made of bread. Like that. In a status quo.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I'm taking the piss.
Oh, right, okay. Of course you are. Why would I think you're being serious?
Why would you think otherwise? Right.
When they're looking for Bex and Ben the early years.